Hello guys, it's TSPage, and today I'm coming back with another video, and this one is going to be over the Realm of the Mad God new dungeon, the Lost Halls. As you can see up here on the screen right now, this is the beta portal, or this is what it should look like. And currently, when I'm making this video, this is before the actual dungeon has been released. So you're probably going to be wondering, like, oh, how are you actually making a video on it before it's actually released? And if you're watching it after the dungeon already comes out, you're probably like, wow, this stuff is out of date. What the heck were you thinking? So, if you're watching this after the dungeon has already come out, just beware. This was made before it actually came out, and this is all going off of the concept designs before any of the official stats for the enemies were released, or at least just the dungeon enemies. And this is going to be as in-depth as I can over the document that I was given. So, yeah, let's jump right into it. So, to start out with Lost Halls Dungeon, we want to look at the layout. So, its mini-map is completely disabled, so I'm going to assume it's either going to be completely black or grayed out, so that you're not able to see any of the other yellow dots or anything like that, or any enemy models or anything like that, unless they are within your field of view. And once the dungeon has been closed, after 40 seconds, not after it's been closed, but after the first person enters, 40 seconds after that, the spawn room will start to fill with lava, which prevents any leechers from happening. Teleports are not going to be allowed as well, so this is going to be a very skill-based and very hard to deal with dungeon. All enemies are going to be respawning, kind of like the people in the Davies do. Once the people leave an area, or they don't even have to leave the area, but how enemies kind of respawn in Davies, it'll be similar to that. If you leave a room, they'll respawn into that room. The whole thing is going to look pretty aesthetically pleasing, as far as I think it will. It's going to be a nice white color with some slightly darker patches just to add some texture to it, but it's all going to be mostly the same color. The only odd part about it is that every room is 100% completely identical, and because of this, the only things that change are the spawn rooms and the boss rooms. So basically, no matter the layout, all the rooms are going to be the exact same as the dungeon before, except for reshuffled. So the boss room and or the spawn room and all the 3 boss rooms will be just scrambled randomly as a substitute for one of the identical rooms. Yeah, at least from what I've read, that's what it looks like most likely. So as far as rushing to the boss rooms, I know this is kind of trying to be prevented with the difficulty of the dungeon and how hard it is to navigate through it, but I do think there is a possible way to do it, but I'm not going to tell you now because I don't want it getting patched before I can use it, and if it's not even a possible thing, I don't want to share it if it's not even going to possibly work in the future. So as well as with this, there are 3 boss rooms, as I've already said, but aimlessly wandering throughout the maze will be a spectre or whatever, however you want to pronounce it, that you are probably going to want to run from as soon as it enters your screen. In the actual document, it says that he does a bunch of high-powered attacks, aimlessly wanders, and I don't think he can be killed, so you basically just want to run away from him if you see him, and this probably means that you're going to want to have max speed running this dungeon, at least a high-def character, if not max def. This is probably going to be a dungeon only for really, really good characters. So yeah. So I'm going to go over very briefly now the enemies. There's quite a bit of enemies actually in the dungeon that you'll be seeing, so you'll actually have to know some of the basics before you just jump right in and just start shooting away, most likely. If you're not that great of a character, if you're 8-8, you'll probably be fine, but you'll probably want at least 2 or 3 other people with you. Probably a buffing class as well. Excuse me about that. There's 4 types of enemies, and there's like 4 main groups, and it's the Lost Crusaders, the Orcs Infantry, the grotto creatures and the golem families. They're all slightly different. I'm not going to go too in depth because their stats haven't even been released, and there's still a lot open end. They all have high damage and high death, so they should probably be pretty hard to kill, which is why you probably want melees and some high DPS classes, probably with high initial damage, like a Debo Archer, or maybe even a Assassin, something like that, to help get through all of those really quick. And yeah, that's basically it. There's also some miscellaneous other monsters, but I'm not going to go too in depth on any of the monsters right now. So now I want to go a little bit more in depth into all of the boss rooms. So actually, first off, I'll start out with the start room. It's basically what it looks like. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 tiles wide and pretty circular, with straight sides for like 4 tiles. It's relatively small, nothing too big about it, but after 40 seconds, as I said, it will start to spawn in lava, kind of like a Abyss of Demons tea room, except for it doesn't stop, preventing any leechers. Alright, I've already said that, but whatever. It's going to be a very important part to know for when you do the dungeon the first time and you start trying to leech and you got something to do. You're not leeching in this dungeon. So, boss room 1 is the main boss is the Agonized Titan, and it's very basic. It's a little bit smaller than the spawn room, and there's nothing very noteworthy. It's just basically nothing can be interacted with. It's just you shoot the boss, and basically it gives you free loot because he actually cannot attack. It's just basically free loot, but the thing is, the wall closes you in after 3 seconds, meaning you have to be in the front lines in order to make it into this room, or else you're going to just completely miss out on this extremely nice opportunity. The next boss room is going to be the Marble Colossus boss room, and this is a much bigger room. I think, just judging by size, it's going to be a little bit smaller, just around the same size as the Puppet Master's Encore. The large arena will be needed because it's going to be a very, very dodge heavy. You're going to have to be dodging a lot, and it'll close after 10 seconds. So once you enter it, people have 10 seconds to get in, and then it'll close. And then I'll go over the bosses of each of these rooms right after this, and so I'm just talking about the design right now. And then lastly, the boss room 3 is the Void Entity. It's similar to the Marble Colossus room, but it has a Ring of Pure Evil, which is the purple stuff by avatars that does like same damage as Hot Lava and Shatters, which will also play a vital role in the boss battle. It's arguably the most in-game type boss. There's no protection, no walls to hide behind like in the Lair of Draconis. The side of the wall will slowly, or the Pure Evil will slowly start to move in, kind of like the what is it? The Bilgewater Grotto. Whenever you activate the boss and it takes a long time, it'll work similarly to that, just at a more predictable pattern. Every minute, you'll have one less tile to work with. Not just one less, but like a whole ring less of tiles. And so you have, I think it is a total of 6 minutes to defeat the boss, so the radius of the square doesn't make much sense, but it is 6. So it's the most in-game in the boss and is super bulky, so you'll have to have a lot of DPS and you'll be really insane to try and do this solo. So now I'm going to go into the bosses real quick. So last off, I want to go into all of the bosses and the items. You'll hear me clicking around a little bit as I'm scrolling through everything. I'm going to keep it brief because I tried to do this once already and it took quite a bit longer than it probably needed to. So I'm gonna keep this really short and concise. Basically, the first boss, the Agonized Titan, he doesn't do any damage, but basically all he does is he shoots out a bunch of status effects shots that do 0 damage each. So he can't kill you, but he's really annoying to kill, as well as the door opens back up afterwards, so you'll be able to continue on with the rest of the dungeon afterwards. He shoots a lot like Oryx, as far as, or like Oryx 2 in the way he shoots his shots. So they won't be too terribly easy to dodge or fun to dodge, but it's impossible to die facing him, so I'm not going to go too in-depth here. Basically, yeah. So, with boss 2, though, it's pretty interesting because he has 200,000 HP, and he does a ton of damage, and he looks like he, you're going to have to be dodging a lot, because he shoots in circles, it looks like, and then we'll be shooting out a bunch of high damage shots during every phase, as well as he does status effects with every different shot, or at least some of them, like stun, bleeding, paralyzing, but he does slow, as well as stuff like that. He does throw projectiles at a certain phase, as well as halfway through, when you get him down to 100,000 HP, he will shoot X projectile, which is continuous, and it does 300 damage and has a range of 20 tiles, which sounds super scary. 300 damage is like the black cheese wheels from the Twilight Archmage and the Shatters. That sounds scary, like super scary. As well as all of his shots seem to do above 75 damage, ranging from mostly 100s to some 150s, and I think I saw a 200 and 250 up there as well. And I just got a text message, sorry about that. Yeah, so this is just going to be a super hard dungeon, and don't be tricked the first time you do it. Phase 4, he will say, "I'm dying," and this will begin at 25,000 HP. He won't actually be dead, and will continue to fight after this. He will blink red for 15 seconds, and then he will begin phase 5, which is when he will say, "You will come with me," and this is when you want to get away, because he shoots in a ring, or that's what I assume. He shoots in a ring, 150 damage shots all over the place, paralyzes, weakens, dazes, armor piercing, 150 damage each, 24 projectiles coming from him. It's going to be one heck of a battle, but it won't last too long, because he'll only have 25,000 HP, and will last until his death. And I'm pretty sure that he drops a loot chest after he dies in the center of the arena. The drop rates are pretty nice. You can't actually get the ring now that I see this, but you can get almost all the other white bag stuff at a range of 2 to 1%, as well as life is guaranteed to 1 player, and mana is guaranteed to 2, attack is guaranteed to 3, def is guaranteed to 5. Attack and def drop at 70% each. Mana drops at 50% and life at 30%. That might change though a little bit, as that will be very farmable. So yeah. And next up, I'm going to go into boss 3. So boss 3's name is the Void Entity, and he is going to be the one that has, he's going to be in the room that is, that's surrounded by pure evil. It's going to be, I think it's brown in the center, as well as, what is it? It's brown in the center, as well as he just stays in there, and all of his phases go along with the pure evil, which is the purple stuff by the avatar that does like the damage of hot lava. And so phase after phase, it changes based on his how much time you've taken. So the arena will get smaller and smaller and smaller every 1 minute. The tiles, the width will be 1 less, or actually I think it'll be 2 less, because it'll close in on both sides, and it's like just the perimeter of it gets smaller every time. So you're going to be wanting to do this as fast as possible, and then at phase 6 you're pretty much dead if you make it there, as well as phase 5. There's no way you're going to do this, because the entire map will be covered in pure evil, and there's no chance. Oh gosh, another text. But yeah, and so death phase 1 begins after 10,000 HP. If the arena has been engulfed with pure evil, then it'll reappear, kind of like the Abyss of Demons once you kill Malthus. And then phase 2, death phase 2, sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm getting more text messages. I need to turn this off, but I'm not going to because I'm almost done. And then he'll say, death phase 2, I'm the embodiment of sin. You created me. If you destroy me, you'll destroy yourselves. So he's pretty endgame. And then after this, a chest will spawn, and he can drop tons and tons of loot, as well as the Omnipotence ring as a 1% drop, which is the utterly broken ring with plus 80 HP, plus 80 MP, and 5 of every other stat. But I don't know if that's going to get nerfed, but it is a absolutely insane ring, as well as I think it's soulbound, as well as all of the other white bag sets are at around 2%, as some of them, I think the archer set is at 3% of getting the set, 3% of getting a drop in that set. So that's actually a really good chance you get a white bag from this dungeon. It's kind of, I feel like it'll kind of be like a tomb, because it's like, there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, there's like 20 different white bags, or at least cyans or untiered you can get. And it's like, they all drop at like a 2 or 3% chance, and it's like, it feels like it'll be pretty likely you get one of them. As well as it drops death and attack at 100%, mana at 80, and life at 50, and the tarot card at 1%. And so yeah, since I have a little bit of time left, I'm going to go into some of the items that I find most interesting. The Paladin Seal, I want to go into a little bit because it disables the secondary shots. So let's say a Medusa is coming at you and you don't want to deal with it, so you use your Pally Seal, and it no longer throws its nades, only does its normal shots, and that lasts for 7 seconds? I think that's what it is. No, that lasts for 3 seconds. Okay. But yeah, that's a very interesting item. Some of the other stuff is pretty normal, just really nice stats. The ring actually has none, but it grants a special bonus to each set piece when worn in conjunction with the other parts, which will be pretty interesting to see. The rogue sets, nothing too special. Obviously, they're all special, but like these are all really cool. And the Trickster set will do a decoy damage kind of thing, like the new Puppet Masters one, as well as some other stuff. So it's going to be really interesting dungeon. I'm looking forward to it a lot. This was kind of like, there's so much to go into. There's like 54 pages on this document, but I wanted to sum that up as much as I could, and as well as get you as much of the information. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm looking forward to this dungeon. I expect it to be released in a week or two, if not sooner. But yeah, so if you're watching this after the dungeon comes out, keep in mind this was made before the dungeon was actually released, so something's not right. Don't go bashing me. This was made before. This is trying to be a preview, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm looking forward to this. I hope you guys are too. Peace out.